Hello, welcome to our third recording on Business Unit 1 IAL. Today we are looking at the role of an entrepreneur in business. What exactly are the roles? Ask yourself, I'm an entrepreneur, what are the things I'm expected to do? So, the first thing an entrepreneur thinks of is that the business idea. What exactly are they going to go into? Every successful business starts with an idea and extensive planning. The planning process must be given proper attention because during the planning process, many people find a better idea or uncover valuable information about their target market they didn't see, obviously, before performing any sort of research. So it is very good, it's very, very good for an entrepreneur to come up with a sound business initial idea. And actually, the process of attaining this is through one of the processes of attaining a good idea will be through research. We're going to be looking at that further in later videos. Then, of course, the creating and setting up a business. After getting the idea, what exactly do they do next? They need to set up the business. They need to look at things that are involved in probably getting funds to finance the business. They need to look at the business statement. Is it going to be a sole? Are they going to be a sole trader or a limited company? You know, so those are one of the things that they'll be looking at doing. Then again, running the business. They will also look at expanding the business further, and of course, innovation will be one other thing to consider. We will be looking at all this in detail in the next couple of slides. Okay, so the role of an entrepreneur is considered as the method, process, strategy adopted in setting up a business, running the business, expanding, and of course, developing the business. Now, you can see from the picture there, before you can come up with a proper business, it is advisable for business or for entrepreneur to actually have a plan in place, to have a strategy in place. How did they start? Where did they come up with the idea? How innovative do they want to become? Where do they say, no, this is not for me? So it's good to have this plan in place. So this is what this lesson is all about, to actually give you an idea of what it entails to become a successful entrepreneur. Okay, let's look at the initial idea in details. Business idea can be generated from several ways of several avenues. The first will be brainstorming of ideas. Now, brainstorming of ideas could be between yourself and your family. It could be between the entrepreneur or even a place of work, colleagues, so it's just get people together, tell them your ideas, they discuss the pros and cons, and it's now left for you to now decide on which one to select. So brainstorming is one way to come up with an idea. Then another way to come up with an idea is to tap into your interest. What exactly makes you tick? What exactly do you love doing and you don't see it as work? What are you gifted at? Are you gifted in arts? Are you gifted in programming? What do you love doing that you're passionate about? Is it sports? Some people come up, they actually decide to establish their business based on their interest. Then, of course, keep a pan points. Journals. Successful companies all have one thing in common: they solve problem. Okay, so when you're even starting a business or when entrepreneurs are thinking of an idea, they look at solving a business. What is it that is not being done? Or what is it that, oh, I wish I could have done it? That's my pain point. I wanted this, but it's not available. Therefore, this could be something that is needed, and some people come up with their business idea based on actual need, based on solving problems. So companies like Google, Netflix, and Uber solved specific pain points in their marketplace and went on to achieve great things. Again, another way to get business idea would be to meet new people. New people. It could be a social night out or social evening. It could be a business meeting. There, you can actually get ideas. When people discuss their success points, you could tap into it as well. Then market research. Oh, this cannot be overemphasized. It's so key because at times we might come up with an idea and someone else has that idea, and there's probably no need for that idea to be duplicated. So it is good to do market research for you before you can finally put a stamp on that business idea. And how do you do your market research? This can be done online. This can be you can visit websites. You could sorry, you could visit, it could be done, locally, your environment, your community. You could ask questions. These are ways to find out exactly what sort of business that you can finally zero on. Okay, now that you have the business idea, what exactly an entrepreneur will need? They will definitely need money. If they cannot come up with good ideas, they could open a franchise. Okay, they will open a franchise. A franchise basically means an entrepreneur want to tap into what has been established there already. Okay, they don't want to go through the process of research and development, test and trying and all that. So they want to go to an already established company and probably pay some royalty or some money to whoever has owns that idea, and pick up from there. So they are leveraging the popularity of some other products, so they don't have to go through the process of selling it to their prospective clients. So we will be looking at franchise in some other videos. Okay, now that you have developed your idea, what next? You need to protect that idea. Okay, it's now your own thing. If it's not protected, there's a tendency that people could come and claim it or copy it and probably will do better than you. So that's why some people, once they have established their idea, they know what they want to do. The next thing is to protect that idea. So original ideas can be protected by law. There are several ways to protect these ideas depending on what is being protected. The three popular ways to protect your idea will be patent. A patent basically is a way of registering and protecting a new invention. Okay, it's a new thing completely. Invention, it could be a technology. You want to patent it, you want to protect it. So nobody will have the right to do the same thing anymore. Then, of course, trademarks. Trademarks basically are protected logo. You can see the logo that I have there as an example. They must be you might be familiar with them, and they are basically maybe business slogan or taglines or catchphrases, or even small group of words that are combined in a special way to identify a product or a company. Okay, then of course copyright gives protection to a written work or music. Okay, you have written something, you want to protect it so that people will not copy it, especially these days of internet that you can have access to everything. So some people want to actually legalize it by protecting their idea, or by using copyright infringement laws to protect themselves. Okay, right. So let's quickly take a look at how to set up our business, how to create the business. One key thing, I did mention this in previous slides, there is to have a business plan. A business plan. It is so key to have a plan in place. Then, of course, how do you access your finance? Where do you get money to start the business? Or what do you get money to run the business? What sort of business structure do you want? Do you want a limited liability company, or a trade, or a sole trader, or franchising? Do you want to register your name? So it's ideal to have your name registered. Even if you choose a sole trader to be a sole trader, it's good for people to have a name to call you. Then, of course, you want to register with revenue for tax purposes. You want to select a technology. For instance, maybe you want to have account you want to have a software for your accounting system or other tracking system. Those are options that you need to make select options you could select. There are several options you could select for to choose what sort of technology to enhance your business. Then, of course, you want to purchase some sort of insurance policy. You want to make sure you are safe. If there's any problems that you might have, you want to make sure you have a fallback on. So it's good to consider insurance. And of course, you may want to consider choosing a partner. Okay, it's not, you might not be an expert in everything you do, so you might want to choose a partner that will complement you, a partner that's not doing exactly what you know how to do, so that to improve your business standard. Partnership could even be a need. There might be a need for you to get a partner just to even add finance to the business. Okay, so these are things you consider when you are trying to create and set up a business. Now let's take a look at business plan. Business needs to plan out what activity to undertake in the future. A business plan basically, it's a plan. It's a formal statement of business goals, reasons they are attainable, or how the plans will be attainable, and plans that is put in place to reach those set goals. It may also contain background information about the organization or team attempting to reach those goals. So basically, a plan or a business plan is a written description of your business future. That's all there is to it. A document that describes what you plan to do, how you plan to do it. Okay, it involves things like marketing planning. It involves things like putting down your long-term goals. It involves things like team building, developing strategy, even analyzing trends. Those are the things that you have in place. You consider when you are putting your business plans for the purpose of the A levels. The thing you need to know is basically a definition of a business plan. And of course, you want to also know the advantages and disadvantages of a business plan. It's key to know that this is one of the an exam an area where examiners usually test students on. So please make sure you understand this very well. What a business plan is, the advantages and disadvantages. So then let's take a look at the advantages of a business plan. It makes an entrepreneur consider every aspect of the startup process. They can try to eliminate any failures, therefore. Okay, so when you have something in paper, it gives you like a guide. It gives you like a guide on things, the do's and the don'ts. Okay, so and then you can actually figure out when things are going on. So it's good. It helps the entrepreneur to check themselves, to guide them on things to do. Then the second point says it makes the entrepreneur aware of what skills they are missing. So when you have something structured, you have a set of things to make your business successful. So you definitely want to figure out, okay, do you want to check yourself? Do I have the skills to actually make this thing work? Okay, so if you don't have it, at the earliest stage you discover that it's not what you have, you may want to consider getting someone else to help you in that regard. Or you may want to learn a technology, or you may want to learn another something basically to help you meet the need of that skill that is needed. Okay, so it makes the entrepreneur aware of what skill they are missing so that they can hire experts in that particular field if need be. Then, of course, venture capital. Now, venture capital may be available to business if investors like the business plan. So when you have your business plan in place, you could actually take it to the bank, or you could actually take it to investors to say, okay, listen, this is my plan, this is what I want to do. Am I able, or would you consider investing in me? When venture capitalists, when they see that a business plan is a good one, they may want to invest in you because they feel it will be profitable to them. So that is what good thing, one good advantage of business plan. Let's take a look at some disadvantages as well. So there's nothing that has advantage that will not have some loopholes as well. So the plan is only a plan. That's the thing. If you don't follow through, it does not guarantee any success. For example, sales may be lower than predicted, as they can be affected by a range of other external issues, for instance. Okay, so a plan is just something in paper. So if you do not follow through with the plan, there is no way you'll be successful. And at times, even if you follow through, there are times that some external things that is beyond your control, could affect the business as well. Okay, so another point to consider is if the plan is too rigid, some problems may arise. So at times when you follow the plan strictly, oh, that this is the plan, I must follow it to the letter. At times it might not be, because of, again, external things could affect what you had planned before. So it's good to be flexible, in this regard. So problems may arise if flexibility is not adapted, or maybe there's a change in the marketplace, so there might be need to change to tweak the business plan. Then finally, high sales expectation may cause overspeeding in other areas such as stock and staffing. Now, at times you could say, oh, because your business says in at the end of the year you should have XYZ amount of fund or profit, you might now go and start investing beforehand in order to meet that target. Also, at the end of the day, you might lose money. You might go get more employees. You might go get more stuff, more stock in the company. So these are some of the disadvantages. Remember, when you're answering questions like this, you want to talk about the advantage and disadvantage. Most times, it's coming to play in big questions. At times, maybe when you are doing your evaluation or analysis. You know. All right. So the next thing we want to look at is running a business. Now that we have the business in place, you have figured out the initial idea, you have thought of protecting your idea, and now you've looked at creating the business, you've considered your business plan and all that. But then, how do you run the business? How do you run the business? There are certain things to consider. For instance, you want to look at the business needs, okay? Your labor, who do you employ? Finance, would you want to get an external accountant to help you with your business? Who are your customers? Where do you get them? Who are your suppliers? Your premises? Those are things that you will need, when running a business. Then, of course, the business functions, okay? The business functions will involve production system. How would that work? Human resource management. Who will be in charge of recruiting your staff if need be? Or how do you do your marketing? How do you administer your work? What's the administration process you have? Research and development. These are things you need to consider when running your business. And of course, it will get to a point where you will need to also expand your business. Expand your business. There are several ways you could expand your business. Once for the first 1 year, you are trying to get your feet on the ground. You are probably you're not making profit in the first few years or first 1 or 2 years. Again, depends on the type of business. But again, it gets to a point that you've started making profit. So you're now thinking of expansion. That would normally be the next step once you start making profit. You want to expand the business. So there are several ways you can actually expand your business. The first way is through franchising. Okay, we will be looking at franchising later on. So franchising basically is another option for anyone with a proven business model in franchising. Effectively your franchisee takes on the risk of setting up in a different location, but you still have to put in the hard work to manage your franchise, and it needs to be a business model that can work in multiple locations. So basically, you could decide to adopt this methodology, just getting someone else's, just getting someone else's idea and working on it, but you pay royalty. So like I said, we'll be looking at franchising in more detail. Then of course it may be you moving to a new location. Okay, you may say, okay, how do I expand my business? I probably want a new location that maybe what you're selling, or what's the service that you provide in your current look in your current, because it's needed elsewhere, so you may want to move. So if you're already established a successful business in one location, one option for expansion is basically to set up a shop elsewhere. Okay. So then, of course, licensing your products. Okay, you may have a fantastic business idea, but if you have reached your limits for producing your products on large scale, one option available is to license it. Okay, this is where another company takes over the responsibility for producing and and distributing the products. All right, but they take the lion's share of the profits and pay you royalty. You don't want to do the business, but you are giving someone else to do the business, but they pay you what you call royalties for doing the business. Then, of course, sell complementary products or services. Okay, you are selling, and maybe you're producing coffee. Maybe that's your kind of business, producing coffee. You may also want to produce sugar, because you know that anybody that takes coffee may want to add sugar to it, or you may want to produce milk. Okay, these are complementary products that go hand in hand. So you may want to consider that when expanding your business. Then, of course, public procurement. Public procurement, basically, this is where you kind of bid for government's business. The public, there's usually governments usually provides about a target of 25% to small business sector. That's one of the laws in most countries. They'll be looking at giving their job to small business in order to give them an opportunity to grow. So you may want to consider public procurement as well. Then public contracts. Again, this sort of falls under the public procurement thing. You want to get some contracts that will or bid for contracts, government contracts, or even some private companies, some private big companies. They actually have some websites that they put up any jobs that a small business could tap into. So you want to look at that as well. Then, of course, exporting is one other way. You want to consider selling your product outside of your country. That is one good way to expand the business. And then delivery online. So the web offers the owner of small and medium-sized business a cost-effective way of diversity. So you are reaching a very huge market when you go online. Then another way is to by buying another business. You want to buy another business. This is a big strategic risk, though, for small business, because of the amount of time, money, and legal complexity that is involved in doing this. Okay, so these are several ways that you could expand your business. In terms of examination, it could be you might be using, you might need to suggest this. You see, maybe they give you a case study that it's so obvious that the business is failing, so you might want to consider some options here where the business might expand. Okay, so let's take a look at the next one. I think that's about the last. I think about this points, the innovation within business. Okay, so improving or replacing business processes to increase efficiencies and productivity, or to enable the business to extend the range of quality of existing products. That's where innovation comes into place. You have already in business, you want to probably make business production faster, and your production process faster, okay? Or you want to improve customer services, in order to attract more clients. So those are things that you want to be more, you want to consider as well. And also developing entirely new and improved products. You may want to completely change your products. You've done your research, you're selling already stuff, where you've gotten information from, you've gotten feedback from people that are using your product. So you may want to change your products, again, all to suit consumers' demand. Then adding value to existing products. You have a product already, again, just you may want to change some certain things, or you are moving to a new country, and you may want to adapt it to the need of the new consumers. So those are things to consider as well. And again, competitors, because of competitors, you also may want to increase the quality of your products just to make sure you still remain in the market. All right. Introducing innovation can help you do the following. Okay, why is innovation important, or why is it good? It may help you improve productivity, okay, reduce costs, be more competitive, build value of your brand, establish new partnerships and relationships, and of course, increase turnover and improve profitability. That is why innovations are good. So again, where do you apply this when it comes to answering questions? Remember the BLT, because why? Because leading to therefore. So maybe when you're suggesting things about what we talked about in the previous slide, the things that they need to do to improve, to be innovative, then you now give the reasons, what it will lead to, so when they choose to probably expand, and when they choose to probably adopt new technology, what does it lead to? It leads to improved productivity. Okay, maybe when they decide to cut down, maybe to stop using a particular technology, it may also lead to reduced costs. Okay, maybe, so all those strategies, these are the leading to, okay, be more competitive, build the value of your brand, establish new partnership and relationship, increase turnover and improve productivity. So that is what these are some reason points you want to consider when you are justifying the need for innovation. Then, of course, business that fail to innovate runs the risk of doing this, losing market share. Again, these are evaluation points. Evaluation points. Losing market share to competitors. If you fail to innovate, you fail into productivity and falling productivity and efficiency. Losing key staff. If you do not innovate, staff could decide to move elsewhere. Experiencing steadily reducing margins and profit, then going out of business. So these are the consequences of you just staying, you not doing anything. So this is the end of today's broadcast. I will be talking about how to write a good conclusion, or giving you some exam tips on how to write a good conclusion in my next video. Thank you for watching.